we're moving forward. We are going to be looking at mass firings. Donald Trump saying just moments ago, he is preparing mass firings, getting rid of a lot of things that, well, maybe we didn't need anyway. Here he is in the Oval Office being asked about the government shutdown that is happening just hours away from now. Let's see whether or not they can work out a deal. But I'll tell you, we know who has the upper hand. Watch.
What you're doing. Thank you very much, Linda. Okay, any questions, please?
Mr. President, as we inch closer to a government shutdown this morning, you said you might do a lot of layoffs. If DOGE is already reducing the federal workforce, why is it necessary to link more federal jobs cut to a shutdown?
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down, so when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and the Democrats, they're going to be Democrats. As you know, no country can afford to pay for illegal immigration, health care for everybody that comes into the country, and that's what they're insisting. And obviously I have an obligation to not accept that. That would affect everybody. You know, when I see what we're doing with AI and all the plants that are opening up in the country, $17 trillion is coming. And if you compare that to Biden had in 4 years, less than $1 trillion. We have 17 trillion, more than that. I think it's going to be much more than that, David. By the end of this year, I think it's going to be far over that. It's a record. It's already a record in 8 months. It's a record by a lot. And so we're doing well as a country. So the last thing we want to do is shut it down. But a lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want. And they'd be Democrat things, but they want open borders. They want men playing in women's sports. They want transgender for everybody. They never stop, and they don't learn. We won an election in a landslide. They just don't learn. So we have no choice. I have to do that for the country. Yes.
Unbelievable. Okay, they really don't ever learn. It's very, very true. He also said something a little earlier to this effect, saying, look, again, we don't want to do this, but hey, we may not have a choice.
About the state of the Democrat Party when they have a 33% favorability rating on average in recent months, and they're willing to shut down the government over health care.
They are shutting it down. We're not shutting it down. We don't want it to shut down because we have the greatest period of time ever. I told you, we have $17 trillion being invested. So the last person that wants it shut down is us. Now, with that being said, we can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them. Like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. And you all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people out. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. And, we're cutting that. But they want to have illegal aliens come into our country and get massive health care at the cost to everybody else, and we don't have it. And that's I would say, the number one reason that they want to strike is to get illegal immigrants health care. And, Gavin Newsom wants that, too, in California, and it's destroying California. We can't have that. We're not going to let it happen.
It did. I mean, it did, right? They just couldn't afford it. So you're talking about over $1 trillion that they want. And they're like, oh, no, that's not what it's about. It's about giving the money to the states for the health care. Well, what do the states do? Because the federal government actually legally cannot give money to illegals here in this country. So they give it to the states, right? And then the states are free to do whatever the heck they want to do with it. And so you have places like New York and California basically offering all of this healthcare. And that's what Donald Trump is saying. No, we're going to stop that. We're going to stop that. So he had an opportunity to speak just yesterday with Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. They came to the White House. They apparently all sat down. And shortly after they left, he tweeted this last night. Okay, it's funny. It's AI. I'm telling you, you got to have a sense of humor about this stuff. He certainly does. Watch.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bull. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, at least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too?
Oh my God, okay. It's funny, right? I'm sorry, I'm like dying laughing. Okay, so people are really, really mad about that. I guess they're mad because, look, this president is like way smarter than anyone when it comes to memes, when it comes to AI, when it comes to capturing the imagination, if you would, of the people. And so he sent that out. And by the way, that got the message out pretty loud and clear, if you would. The New York Times reports that the meeting yields no progress with a shutdown just a day away. We're now just hours away. We're about 6 hours away right now. Again, if you are watching this show live, I'm watching your comments in real time. Leslie's like, shut it down, right? We'll just get rid of everything that we don't need anyway. And Don Baca's like, and don't give them any back pay. So if you're watching live, thank you for that. Make sure you subscribe, share, like. Hopefully this thing gets avoided, right? Like hopefully by the time you're seeing this, if you watch this later in the day or if you watch this tomorrow, hopefully we've avoided all of this. But he's ready, willing, and able to make the necessary steps. And, the Democrats are not going to be happy about this. Again, I just want to clarify. So the $1 trillion that they want for healthcare spending is basically money that would go to states. So they're saying, oh, this is not true. This is not money that would go to illegals, but it would go to the states, who would then in turn be able to offer it to people who are here illegally in the country. And you know what? Trump is saying, look, they tried this in California. It was an absolute disaster. The reality is we just don't have the money for it. We just, hey, we want to be nice to everybody. But this is not something new. I mean, the Democrats were talking about this forever. Yesterday, I played you, remember the State of the Union from 1995? It's actually on my shorts feed as well, because Bill Clinton was saying back in 1995 things that would make him sound like a fascist today. He's like, we can't afford this. We can't have everybody coming here. I remember Dianne Feinstein. I used to run that clip, right? She would say back, this is like some 25 years ago, God rest her soul, she would say, we can't be the welfare state for Mexico. I mean, this is all new. EPW, thank you. I'm glad that you like the sweater. I try to be stylish. It's getting chilly in this part of the world where I am right now. We have fall, and I'm working the turtleneck. Anyway, it is a reality that this is not going over well politically, because people are saying, hey, why are you so concerned about everybody except for, say, me, right? Why are you concerned about all the people who are legally? You're concerned about the very small portion of the trans population. Like you want them to be able to compete in women's sports, but you don't seem to care about actual girls. Like it's just getting kind of weird. Like, I mean, call me crazy. Like, I never thought I was that conservative. I think I'm pretty, fiscally conservative. I believe in a small, limited government. And I don't really care what you do, but just don't try and shove it down my throat. And all of a sudden they're trying to shove it down our throats. And everybody's like, no, I'm not here for that. So what are you looking at? In the opinion of the Democrat Party, it is got a favorability of just 30%, 54% unfavorable rating. I mean, this gels with what Harry was saying to the shocked CNN anchor just a couple of weeks ago in terms of the polling. And you want to know why? It comes down to one big thing, and it's immigration. So when you look at the shutdown happening, I think a lot of Americans are going to say, fine, if this is happening because we're going to save $1 trillion on not having immigrants get free health care that are here illegally, that shouldn't be here to begin with, maybe that's politically more viable than what the Democrats are saying, which is come one, come all. We'll give you a free hotel. You get to stay at the Roosevelt. That's like 5 stars. Back in the day it was. You get maid service, daily maid service, and you get like 300 and some odd bucks a week in your little credit card that you can go and use for your ethnically appropriate food. Oh, and the cell phone, at least I forget. I mean, for goodness sakes, right? Americans are like, sorry, enough. And he's not wrong, by the way, when he talks about AI and AI taking over a whole lot of jobs. It's no joke. Here's Harry Anton on the GOP just killing it in the polls.
This particular point, the Democrats are the New Orleans Saints of political parties. What are we talking about? Trust the Dems or GOP more on the economy? Who leads on the economy? Republicans by 7. Immigration, Republicans by 13. How about crime, a big issue for Donald Trump and the Republicans? Look at that, lead by 22 points. So the bottom line is this. At this particular point, the ball may be on the ground, but the Democrats have not picked up the ball and running with it. If anything, at this particular point, it's the Republicans who are running with the ball on the top issues, the economy, immigration, and crime.
Give some context on this. Compare this when Republicans last took the House.
Yeah, let's compare it back to 2022. I think this kind of gives away the game right here. Okay, the GOP is more trusted than the Dems on the economy. It was 12 points in 2022. Slight decline in that lead, but still 7 points. How about immigration? It was Republicans by 3 back in 2022. Look at this. The Republican lead's actually gone up by 10 points. What are you doing, Democrats? My goodness gracious. And on crime, the Republicans were up by 13, and now they're up by 22. The lead, again, expanding by nearly double digits. So whatever Democrats are doing, it ain't working, Kate. It ain't working. Republicans have the lead on all 3 issues.
What's the reason that you are finding so far that's driving this?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's all about the center of the electorate, right? You win with independents, you win overall. And what do we see right here among independents? Republicans still have a point lead on the economy. They got a 10-point lead on immigration. They got a 21-point lead on crime. The bottom line is, when you look at these numbers, Democrats should call their offices, because at this particular point, even if Republicans, or even if the public doesn't like what Donald Trump is doing, they ain't necessarily liking what Democrats are doing. And it ain't just a referendum on one party. You actually have to go out and beat that party. At this particular point, Democrats are not able to beat Republicans.
Yeah, no, they're not going to be able to do it. And so he's alluding to, of course, what's coming in the midterms. And it gets back to, you know, what are they thinking? And again, as we look at these layoffs that are going to be imminent, I mean, layoffs coming, massive. I'm going to put this on the screen for you right now. Massive layoffs coming in government. And Donald Trump's point is, we don't have to bring anybody back. You know, we wanted to do this anyway. Doge was trying, really trying. And then it was like bogged down in the courts and this, that, and the other. And well, guess what? They're going to get a shot at doing it. And he's going to take every opportunity to do so. Look, I think that fundamentally what you have going on here is the average American person really isn't that different than they've ever been, right? Like, I get it. You have woke academia and you have this wokeness that's crept into some parts of society and youth. And that's why Mamdani is running in New York City. But bottom line, Americans are pretty simple. You know, they want to work hard. They want to keep pretty much all their earnings, right? Like, is that a crime? And they want to be able to set up some kind of future for their kids. And yet, apparently it is a crime, according to some people, like, you know, the socialists running in New York City, or this former fired MSNBC broadcaster who's looking at these shutdowns and smaller government and freaking out and saying we got a fundamental problem here because they just don't see the world the way we do. And I'm like, wow, I guess we really don't. Watch.
Is that if you go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes. There were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes.
Right. Yeah.
That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things.
So you're less modern, which means, you know, you don't know what gender you are. That's her version of, okay, you're so antique if you actually think that there's just two genders. I mean, come on, for goodness sakes. So there's a lot going on right now. But bottom line, at this moment in time, as we approach the midnight hour, literally, we may be looking at thousands and thousands and thousands of layoffs within government, and a lot of those jobs just not coming back. And it's something that CNN's having a really hard time with. The media in general is having a really hard time with. I mean, this CNN host, she totally flipped over that, you know, sombrero hat trick I just showed you, the AI clip. This was hysterical. Donald Trump putting in this, again, if you're just joining us right now, it's worth seeing again because it's hysterical. I'm sorry.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side.
That was freaking her out. Just totally freaking her out. I want to go to her, and we have to be careful that I think she put the swear in there. Let's see. Let's check it out. This is CNN reacting. Let's watch.
We heard from the president late tonight on his view, I guess is how I would put it, on how the negotiations at the White House went today. I want to get your reaction to what the president posted.
Look, guys, there's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us.
Is that appropriate in your view?
Look, I think sometimes the president plays with the press like a little boy and a flashlight and a dog. And he's shining the flashlight here and he's shining it there. What he's saying is this offer from the Democrats is ridiculous. $1.5 trillion on top of funding that they already agreed to. That what they're asking for is completely ridiculous. It's disingenuous. And then for the Democrats to sit there and blame Republicans for the plight of rural hospitals is just so wrong. The problems with rural hospitals would be their policy, not ours.
But couldn't the president just say, these demands are ridiculous, and not post a video with Hakeem Jeffries wearing a sombrero and putting that voiceover?
Okay, but it wouldn't be as fun that way, right? And in this modern day, there is no one that understands social media better than one Donald Trump. So the sombrero, I'm sorry, it was a nice touch. Have a sense of humor, lady.
Schumer talking about people of color and immigrants?
I think he said that several times already. And then for them to come and not to make any really serious offer, why didn't they just say, look, let's just talk about these extra COVID-era subsidies, these extra subsidies that are costing some $35 billion a year. Let's make those just for the people who really need them. Let's go back to the original ACA and make this for people under 400%. They didn't bring us a serious offer there. Look, in my estimation, Chuck Schumer wants the government to shut down to settle a political score.
Yeah.
Woo! Okay, because he wants to make it look like it's all Donald Trump's fault. Well, I'm afraid it's going to look like it's all your fault. Yeah. Chucky, because again, let's go back to what they're really talking about. They're saying, all these rural hospitals, and they're saying it's not our problem, California, that you choose to spend all your money in really stupid ways.